Hello, my fellow monkey lovers. I hope you are enjoying Black Myth Wukong as much as I am. Now, the one thing I did not enjoy is this sandy, piss-stained, yellow, windy fucking cunt of a sage. This is the last boss of Chapter 2. And for anyone that struggled as much as I have, hopefully this video will help. I have found a strategy that I think will work for any brain-dead monkey. Now, the great thing about this strat is that I believe it can be used with any build. This is a three-phased fight. And the strat is that we will be using our transformation in both phase 1 and 3 to do as much damage as possible. The second phase, we will be prioritizing our defensive as well as our dodge capabilities. Now, although this can be done, in my opinion, with any build, there are just a few talents and skills that I believe are necessary. So in viewing my own build, I primarily focus in stamina. You're going to be doing a lot of dodging in this fight, and ideally perfect dodging. Survivability is not so important, because ideally you're not getting hit. And with this strat, you're not going to be depleting too much HP, because you're going to be going through very high burst windows of DPS. Another what I would suggest mandatory talent is the ability to sprint while you charge. That's going to set you up for the opener, which is quite important. Moving on, the topic of staff stances. Now, I went with Smash Stance. It was something that I was very comfortable with at the time, but based on how much the boss moves, I would probably suggest using Thrust Stance, because he backpedals a lot, and the Thrust Stance just provides such a greater reach. Nevertheless, I went Smash Stance. I also buffed up the ability that anytime I'm using focus points, I heal, and then when I use my light attacks, I build focus points faster. So that's kind of the general build. If we look at Mysticism, or the spell Immobilize, I don't actually have points in there, right? If you look at... Now, looking at Cloud Step and Rock Solid, now, because, again, this is early in the game, you're not going to have many choices, but Cloud Step, 100% is recommended, because it will actually trivialize one of the most difficult mechanics in this fight. And I'll show you exactly when you can use it. As you can see, a Pluck of Many will be very important for our burst window, and then Transformation is really the cornerstone of this strat, because you will be using it twice in this encounter. But so you could certainly make a case of, because this fight is so heavy relying around the transformation strat, you could certainly make a case for putting points in here as well. Looking at the gear is going to be standard to what you're going to have today, with the Wind Bear Staff, the Fireproof Mantle. Now I'm using the Wandering Wit, because I find that it provides me a window to stagger the boss again, to provide more damage. And then, of course, I have the Gale Guard set pieces, and that provides some bonuses as well. And you should absolutely be able to craft this at this stage in the game. And then, of course, the Cat's Eye Bead for hit chance, and then the increased defense. So without further ado, let's get into the fight. And I will be starting the fight here, because I feel like it allowed me just to explain things a little bit better, and perhaps it will allow you to understand and just watch the mechanics and some of this guy's moveset. So the first thing of any fight is, well, I'm going to be in my appropriate stance, in this case, Smash Stance. And what I want to do in this case is have a fully charged, that's 3 focus points, into my heavy attack. Now, as you can see, I have the talent that allows me to sprint while I do this. I don't believe you'll be able to accomplish this without that talent. So what I'm trying to do is hit him before he hits me. Right here. Now, what happens after this hit is he's going to be staggered. At this point, this is where we're going to pop everything we have. And ideally, you could even add, you could pop in some of your potions for increased damage. That would be recommended. But for here, I didn't even pop any damage potions. All I'm doing is I'm going to pop a Pluck of Many and Red Tides at the same time. Now, what I'm trying to do here is to do as much burst in this phase as possible. By the time that this Red Tides goes down, I want to already be in the second phase. So what you're going to want to do with this is, on the bottom right, you can see the gauge here, and apologize for the window. But once the gauge is filled, you'll be able to dodge and then heavy attack, this is it, to stagger the enemy. You're going to rinse and repeat. You're going to attack, attack, attack with light. Fill your gauge. Once the gauge is filled, you dodge, press triangle, and in this case, I miss, right? But as you can see already, you're almost around 75-70% of the fight. And we're almost at phase 2 already, and we haven't taken an ounce of damage. So here we're going to... Oh, as you can see here, this is a perfect opportunity for me to headbutt and keep him absolutely immobilized without actually using the spell Immobilize. So you have a couple ground stomps. This is the cue that you're heading into phase 2. As you can see, he barely did any abilities at us already, and we're already in phase 2. Now, as soon as phase 2 starts, he's going to disappear. This is where Cloud Step comes in. Now, they will completely focus on the Cloud Step clone and ignore you completely. Now, you may want to just be a little slight further back, and then you can engage. Now, phase 2 is completely about doing light attacks, building your 2 to 3 focus points, and then only when the opportunity presents itself, charging your heavy and perhaps not being too greedily. This phase is difficult with the smash stance. This phase would probably be a lot easier with thrust stance. The most important thing also in this phase is he has a kick. If he kicks you, it takes you into an animation where he just continues to beat on you, and that is the number one thing you want to avoid. It's not an end-all, be-all, but it's certainly the thing you want to look out for, and I'll try to educate you in what that is. So that's not the kick, that's simply the stomp, right? That would be another stomp. So here I'm trying to stagger. I'm trying to do, now this phase, all I care about is dodging and buying myself time for the Red Tides to come off cooldown, but of course, you want to time that Red Tides to phase 3, so you can't be completely idle. You will have to do some damage. So, now that move, he'll jump and then he'll come at you twice. Now, typically after he finishes that move is when he kicks. That's the kick. See? That's the kick you want to avoid. So here I am. I'm building my focus points. I only have one. I'm going to keep doing it. Right? Now, what happens a lot in this fight is he'll actually go outside the boundary, which is quite annoying. So don't try to keep approaching him, especially when you can't see him. Just back up. Back up. And what will happen is he'll do a power smash, then he'll start running after you as a gap closer. And then he'll uppercut the ground, then he'll swing 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Right? So he'll do a bunch of rolls as well. Now, this is a good way to get some damage, is when he's kind of stationary. This is when you kind of want to perform the stagger ability. What happens is he'll actually roar in the air, and that summons a fucking sandworm or his testicles. I don't fucking know. This is a very bad view, so I apologize. But you want to dodge that last minute. We'll have another crack at that. There's a kick stomp. Here, he's going to come at you again twice. I got hit there, unfortunately. He's gonna... Right, I'm just trying to buy myself time. This is a ground pound slam, so just back up from that. This is the kick. Notice he actually roared. He kind of... and then he went for the kick. You definitely don't want that to hit you. And then repeat. Stagger, right, before he could ground stomp. And I'm going to keep doing it. You can already see how much damage we're doing. Just playing it safe. Again, buy your distance, go back, then he's going to come at you, right? He's going to come at you, uppercut, do 3 swings. 1, 2, 3. Right? Then he's going to roll. Kind of roll at you. There you go. Dodge that. Then he's going to come back at you twice. There you go. Watch the kick on this. Watch the kick, probably. Nope, he's going to summon that worm. Then you're going to dodge this right at the last second. So here we are. We almost got our Red Tides. We have barely used any pots. Now this, again, he's invisible. What do? Cloud Step. Now I did do it late there, but there you go, Cloud Step. Trivializes that entire mechanic. No longer relevant. Okay, big damage. See, I missed there with that power, with the smash stance. There it is, dodge kick, the kick, see? See that sound that he made? There, stagger. Now again, he's out of boundaries, just back it up. He's gonna power splash, right? You keep going back, now he's gonna come towards you. I had no potion there. Uppercut, 3 swings, 1, 2, 3, dodge. Right, at this point, now we've got red tides. Now, ideally, I should have waited a little bit because we're still not in phase 3. So I should have waited a bit, but ideally, even if it's up right, you know, even when you use it right when it's up, you'll notice that the fight ends pretty close to it finishing. So here we go. So he summoned something. We got to dodge, right? That worm. We're just trying to get as much damage as we can before our might runs out, right? This is where you want to do the most damage here, or this is the biggest open window. This is the transition to phase 3. He puts a spear in the ground, and now you can do as much damage as possible. Okay? Now, this is where it gets hectic. He'll summon tornadoes around the arena. And honestly, this is monkey Jesus hold the wheel. As you see, I did a cloud step here. Immobilize would probably have been better. And now I'm just trying to get as much damage. Now look at this. Look at this finisher. Look at this finisher. Ah, not. See, this is the annoyance thing about Smash Stance, especially with this fight. The thrust would have killed him. So now I'm panicking, right? I've only got a little bit. This is where you kind of lose composure. Now watch out, because what happens is he's out of boundaries. He's out of the boundary, but I can still see him. But look, I'm trying to attack him. Nothing. I dodged that. Nothing. Trying to attack him. Nothing. So what I did is, again, just back away and let him approach you. And here, again, I'm watch the tornado. And here, I'm just trying to get some cheeky light attacks here. I'm not trying to be fancy. All right, and that's the defeat, right? So hopefully me walking through that slowly was helpful, walking through the overall strategy. Again, what we want to do is stack our buffs, that being red tides and a pluck of many on the first phase, and running in there and charging a full smash so that he's staggered, and that it will allow you to use those buffs uninterrupted, and then doing as much damage as possible until you're in phase 2. At that point, you'll be dodging and building up focus slowly with light attacks, not overextending, using Cloud Step anytime he transitions to those sand guys, watching the big worm by dodging on the last second, and then, of course, buying your time until the red tides comes up again, slowly itching and staggering him on openers. So, and then the last phase, just DPSing as much as possible using red tides, and there you go. That's the fight. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. If it was, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and I'm loving this fucking game, and I hope you are too. Later, jack-offs.